Everyone wants to be great. Everyone talks about goals, dreams, and living with ambition. But here's the truth no one wants to hear. Ambition means nothing without action. You can dream as big as the universe, but if you don't have the discipline, the focus, the consistency, and the resilience to back it up, your ambition is just noise. In a world full of wishful thinkers, the ones who rise are those who move, grind, and execute. This isn't about hype. It's about hard truth. If you're serious about turning vision into victory, there's one thing your ambition absolutely cannot survive without. Let's break it down. Ambition is a spark, the ignition of desire to become more, do more, and live beyond the ordinary. But that spark alone is meaningless without the fuel to keep it burning. And that fuel is discipline. Discipline turns dreams into motion, into action, into reality. It is a relentless force that drives you forward when excitement fades, when motivation dies out, and when the work becomes hard, boring, or repetitive. Ambition may give you a reason to start, but only discipline will carry you through to the finish line. It is easy to dream, to talk, to plan, to imagine greatness, but none of that matters unless it is backed by the will to do the work. Every single day, regardless of mood or circumstance. Discipline is what separates the dreamers from the doers. It is a silent engine behind every successful person, the invisible force pushing them forward when no one is watching. You don't need to feel inspired to act when you have discipline. You act because you've made a decision to follow through, no matter what. While ambition thrives on big visions and grand goals, discipline thrives in the small, gritty, unglamorous choices. Waking up early, saying no to distractions, staying committed to the process even when progress is slow. That's where real transformation happens. Ambition without discipline is like a car without gas. Impressive to look at, but going nowhere. You can dream about being a champion, a CEO, an artist, or a leader, but unless you are willing to put in consistent, disciplined effort day after day, that dream remains a fantasy. The world is full of ambitious people with talent, ideas, and passion, but very few have the discipline to execute. That's why mediocrity is crowded and excellence is lonely, because discipline is rare and it demands sacrifice. The truth is, discipline is the ultimate equalizer. You don't need to be the smartest, the most talented, or the most connected. If you're the most disciplined, you will outwork, outlast, and outperform those who are more gifted but less committed. Discipline is the ability to delay gratification, to ignore the easy path in favor of the right one, and to stay locked in on your mission regardless of how long it takes. It creates structure, builds mental toughness, and turns potential into progress. Without discipline, ambition becomes a burden, a constant reminder of what you could have been but never chose to pursue with full effort. It becomes noise, a haunting echo of wasted potential. But with discipline, ambition becomes power. It becomes a fire that fuels change, movement, and achievement. It transforms you from a dreamer into a force of nature. You don't rise to the level of your ambition. You fall to the level of your discipline. And that's the truth most people are too afraid to face. Execution is the heartbeat of success. It is the one element that turns ambition into achievement, the critical bridge between intention and impact. You can have the most brilliant ideas, the boldest dreams, and the most intense ambition, but none of it matters if you don't take action. In a world full of dreamers, it's the doers who rise. Potential is meaningless without movement. Thinking big is only valuable if you're willing to follow with big action, consistently and without excuse. Execution is what separates the ones who talk from the ones who deliver. It's not about what you say you'll do. It's about what you actually get done. Too many people live in the comfort of planning and preparing. They get addicted to the idea of success, to the illusion of progress through research, talk, and visualization. But the harsh truth is this. No one gets rewarded for almost doing the work. No one becomes great from thinking about being great. You have to execute. Over and over again in silence and discomfort and often in failure. Execution is not glamorous. It is not flashy. It is built on repetition, resilience, and ruthless self-honesty. It demands that you act even when you're uncertain, that you push forward even when you're tired, and that you keep going even when there's no guarantee of results. Ideas don't build empires. Action does. Vision without execution is just hallucination. Everyone has ambition, but very few are willing to endure the grind that execution requires. Because execution is where reality hits. It's where the pain, the pressure, the setbacks, and the sacrifices live. It's where you find out if your ambition is real or just another wish disguised as determination. You could be the smartest person in the room, but if you don't execute, someone with half your talent and twice your work ethic will pass you every single time. Execution doesn't care about your background, your education, or your story. It only responds to effort. Those who execute create momentum. They create results. They create proof that they're serious. And in a world that rewards results, not promises, execution is everything. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to get it going. Every great success story is written by someone who showed up and did the work when it was inconvenient, difficult, or unpopular. Execution is where confidence is born, where learning happens, and where transformation begins. It's not enough to want more. You must do more. Because in the end, the ones who aren't always the most ambitious, they're the ones who actually do what others only talk about. Consistency is a quiet force behind every extraordinary achievement. It's not the bursts of motivation or rare moments of inspiration that build greatness. It's the disciplined repetition of small actions over time. Anyone can start strong. Anyone can show up when it's easy or when excitement is fresh. But the true test of ambition isn't how you begin. It's how long you're willing to keep going. Consistency is what separates the committed from the curious. It's what builds momentum, develops skill, and forges character. Without it, ambition becomes a roller coaster of short-lived efforts, always starting over, always chasing the next high instead of staying the course. Real results aren't built in a day. They're the outcome of showing up day after day, regardless of how you feel. Progress isn't made in grand, dramatic leaps, but in the quiet, often unnoticed, daily grind. Consistency is unglamorous, but is unstoppable. It compounds effort, builds habits, and generates unstoppable forward motion. Most people underestimate how powerful it is to simply keep going. They look for shortcuts, hacks, and quick wins, but they forget that mastery comes from repetition. Talent may give you a head start, but consistency will carry you across the finish line. It doesn't matter how good you are once. It matters how good you are repeatedly. The most successful people in any field are not those who did it once or twice, but those who kept doing it, on good days, on bad days, through failure, fatigue, and frustration. They weren't necessarily the most gifted, but they were the most reliable. They understood that consistency is not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. You don't have to crush it every single day. You just have to keep showing up, doing the work, and trusting the process. That's how momentum is built. That's how confidence grows. That's how you transform potential into power. Ambition without consistency is like planting a seed and never watering it. The desire is there, the vision is strong, but without the repeated effort, nothing ever grows. Consistency is the water, the sunlight, and the care that transforms ambition into something real and tangible. You can't build a legacy on sporadic effort. You can't build mastery on occasional commitment. If you want to win, you have to stay in the game long enough to outlast those who quit. And most people quit not because they lack ambition, but because they lack consistency. They mistake slow progress for failure and give up just before the breakthrough. But those who are consistent keep going, keep learning, and keep growing. And in time, they become unstoppable. Focus is the weapon that sharpens ambition into a force capable of cutting through every obstacle. Without focus, ambition is scattered energy, powerful but directionless. It's easy to dream big and set lofty goals, but without the ability to lock in and block out distractions, those dreams stay suspended in the realm of imagination. Focus is a discipline of attention, the ability to channel your mental, emotional, and physical energy toward a single mission with clarity and intensity. In a world full of noise, temptations, and constant stimulation, focus has become a rare and powerful edge. It's not just about doing more. It's about doing what matters most, with full commitment and zero compromise. Ambition gives you desire to go somewhere, but focus draws a map and keeps you on the path. The difference between those who achieve and those who wish lies in how well they can guard their attention. When your energy is split between 100 directions, nothing gets the full force of your potential. But when you decide to say no to the distractions, the detours, and the unnecessary noise, your ambition transforms into execution with impact. Focus is the ability to stay locked on a goal long enough to see it through, to resist the temptation to chase every new opportunity, and to master the art of saying not now to everything that doesn't align with your purpose. There is no greatness without focus. You can't master a craft, build an empire, or lead a movement by multitasking your way through life. Real growth, real results, and real power come from going deep, not wide. Focus is about depth over breadth, precision over chaos, and long-term gain over short-term dopamine. It's what keeps you anchored when things get hard, when motivation fades, and when the path ahead gets clouded with setbacks. Focus cuts through that fog. It reminds you of your why and demands that you move with intention, not impulse. The truth is, most people fail not because they're not capable, but because they're too distracted to stay consistent. They spread themselves thin, start too many things, chase too many outcomes, and never go all in on any of them. Focus demands that you choose your battle and give it everything. It demands that you remove what is irrelevant, simplify your path, and commit to one mission until it's done. When your focus is locked in, your actions become powerful, your time becomes valuable, and your results become inevitable. Ambition may be the fire inside you, but focus is a blade that turns that fire into precision and purpose. And without it, you're just burning energy instead of building a legacy. Resilience is the backbone of ambition, the unshakable force that keeps you standing when everything around you tries to knock you down. No journey to success is a straight line. There'll be failure, rejection, pain, setbacks, and moments where quitting seems easier than continuing. That's where resilience comes in. It's not about avoiding the struggle. It's about being able to endure it, rise through it, and keep going in spite of it. Ambition without resilience is fragile. It cracks under pressure. It retreats when the road gets rough. But ambition fortified with resilience becomes unstoppable because it doesn't just survive adversity, it thrives in it. Resilience is a voice in your head that says, "Get back up," when everything else is telling you to stay down. It's the inner power that allows you to take hit after hit and still keep moving forward. While ambition may give you the dream, resilience gives you the heart to chase it no matter how long it takes or how many times you fall along the way. It is built in failure, forged in pressure, and proven in moments when giving up seems like the easiest option. Resilience is not about bouncing back to who you were. It's about coming back stronger, wiser, and more dangerous than before. Everyone loves ambition when it's shining and exciting. But the true test of ambition is how you carry it when nothing is going right. Will you still show up when no one believes in you? Will you keep pushing when your plan falls apart? Will you continue when success feels out of reach? These questions are answered not by your ambition, but by your resilience. Because it's not a matter of if obstacles will come, it's a matter of when. And when they do, only the resilient rise. They use failure as fuel. They turn rejection into redirection. They don't shrink in the face of adversity. They get sharper, tougher, and more determined. Resilience is a mindset. It's the decision to keep believing, keep grinding, and keep building when everything in your world says it's over. It's a refusal to surrender your future to temporary pain. It's the discipline to stay the course through storms, through criticism, through doubt, and through loneliness. And most importantly, it's the ability to endure the silent seasons, the days when the results don't show, the progress feels invisible, and the work feels thankless. That's where most quit. But the resilient, they stay. They dig deeper. They evolve. They know that the pain is part of the process, and that every setback is shaping the version of themselves strong enough to carry the success they're chasing. Ambition might start the journey, but only resilience will carry it through to the end. Habits are the hidden architecture of success, the invisible systems that shape your reality far more than ambition ever could on its own. You can dream the biggest dreams, write down your goals, and speak affirmations every day. But if your daily habits don't align with those ambitions, you'll never move forward. Habits are the foundation. They're what you fall back on when motivation fades. They determine your direction, your discipline, and ultimately your destiny. What you do repeatedly, consistently, and unconsciously is what builds the life you live. Not what you intend, not what you hope for, but what you actually do. Ambition is the spark, but habits are the engine. They decide whether that spark turns into a raging fire or dies out with the wind and distraction. The strongest ambitions in the world are powerless without the support of strong, disciplined habits. You can't hope your way to greatness. You build your way there, step by step, action by action, day by day. And those actions become who you are through repetition. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. It's not about getting lucky once. It's about doing what matters over and over again until greatness becomes second nature. Habits don't care about your feelings. They don't wait for the perfect mood, the right time, or ideal conditions. They operate regardless of your emotions, which is why they are so powerful. When ambition collides with life's inevitable obstacles, fatigue, fear, failure, it's your habits that will either keep you moving forward or let you fall apart. Bad habits will silently sabotage your efforts, slowly pulling you away from your purpose, one excuse, one distraction, one compromise at a time. But strong habits will hold you steady, guide you back, and push you through even when everything inside you want to quit. The truth is, your habits reveal what you're really committed to. You can say you want success, but if your habits reflect procrastination, inconsistency, and avoidance, then your real commitment is to comfort, not growth. If you want to change your life, change your habits. Because once something becomes a habit, it becomes automatic. And when success-oriented behavior becomes automatic, your path forward becomes inevitable. You start gaining momentum, confidence, and results, not because of bursts of energy, but because of the quiet power of routine and structure. Habits are your strategy for long-term success. They don't need to be massive. In fact, the most powerful habits are often the smallest. Reading 10 pages a day, waking up early, planning your priorities, showing up to train, eating clean, saying no to time-wasting distractions. Done once, they seem insignificant. Done daily, they transform everything. Ambition gives you the target, but habits build the weapon that hits the mark. Without them, ambition is like a compass with no road. But with them, even the hardest journey becomes possible. Because every day, with every repetition, you're becoming the person your ambition demands you to be. Discipline is the foundation of all success. It is the core trait that holds everything else together. Without discipline, talent is wasted, ambition is useless, and potential becomes nothing more than a fantasy. Discipline is the ability to do what must be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It's the decision to take control of your time, your habits, your energy, and your mind, regardless of distractions, temptations, or emotions. It is the invisible force that builds empires, creates champions, and turns ordinary individuals into unstoppable machines of progress and execution. While ambition may give you a vision of who you want to be, it is only discipline that makes it possible to actually become that person. The world is full of people who want to win, who dream of greatness, who talk endlessly about their goals, but very few follow through. Very few are willing to pay the price, sacrifice comfort, and show up relentlessly. That's the difference discipline makes. It's not about motivation or inspiration. Those are temporary. Discipline is permanent. It doesn't ask how you feel. It commands what must be done. Discipline is the real flex. It is the ultimate proof of commitment. The clearest sign that you're not just dreaming, but building. Every achievement you admire was built on a foundation of disciplined action. Athletes train when they're tired. Writers write when they have nothing to say. Entrepreneurs work when no one's clapping. That's discipline. Without discipline, everything falls apart. You start strong and fade quickly. You chase results but can't sustain the effort. You commit, then quit. Discipline is a glue that keeps you consistent, focused, and on track. It turns chaos into structure, and structure into results. You don't rise to the level of your ambition. You fall to the level of your discipline. This truth separates the elite from the average. It separates those who live intentionally from those who wander aimlessly. It doesn't matter how gifted you are or how big your dream is. If you can't control your actions, your time, and your decisions, you will never get there. Discipline teaches you patience. It teaches you sacrifice. It builds resilience. It trains your mind to endure boredom, repetition, and delayed gratification. And in a world addicted to shortcuts and instant results, discipline is the edge. It makes you dangerous. It gives you quiet power, the kind that doesn't need to be loud because the results speak for themselves. When you have discipline, you become your own master. You don't wait for permission. You don't wait for the perfect conditions. You simply move, execute, and grow. Because you know that everything you want is on the other side of effort you must choose to give. Every single day. That's why discipline is not just important. It is everything. It is the foundation, the standard, and the ultimate difference maker. Ambition is a starting point, the fire that ignites your desire to achieve something greater. But fire alone doesn't build kingdoms. It requires steady fuel, relentless care, and unwavering control. That fuel is discipline, the backbone that transforms dreams into reality, ideas into action, and hope into results. Without discipline, ambition remains fragile, scattered, and incomplete. It is discipline that commands consistency when motivation fades, demands execution when doubt creeps in, sharpens focus amid distractions, and fortifies resilience through setbacks. To truly conquer your goals and live the life you envision, you must embrace discipline not as a burden, but as your greatest ally. Because in the end, ambition without discipline is just potential waiting to be wasted, while discipline powered by ambition creates unstoppable success.